What just happened?
Was I muted that whole time?
You were? I was wondering what you were doing.
You just let me go through the whole spiel without stopping me?
Dude, I said it like 5 times.
I hear you, man. Welcome to VIP After Hours, take 2. My name is Jordan. If you guys are new to the show, welcome. Glad to have you. What we do in the show is we recap our week trading, automations, trading, the whole thing. Try to give you guys a little bit of insight into what we saw, how it went, what we... It's on now. I got it.
Oh, yeah.
See, he at least came over here and told me that I wasn't unmuted.
I'll try and be better.
Thank you, Josh.
I'm trying to get John worked out over here, too.
Man, we're having a tech issue galore. Josh, how was the week this week, man? We had all sorts of news events this week. We had a lot of market volatility. We had good days. We had bad days. How was it for you?
Like you said, we had a lot of kind of back and forth. There was some news driving us all over the charts, but I still had a pretty solid week. Just lower my position a little bit. Tried to look for runners when I had momentum going my way, and I came out on top. I think most of our community is still profitable this week. We had a couple of our newer traders with some first timer mistakes, maybe not placing stop loss exactly where it should be, that got stopped out a little bit early on some winning trades for us. But progress, man. Everybody is pretty hyped coming out of March. It was a great month.
Yeah, man. So I think you nailed it. You know, we had a slew of trades that were pretty wonky this week. Coming off of a really hot month, I think it's easy to be overconfident, that whole thing. But we had trades this week that were thousands of ticks worth of a runner. You know, I think a lot of times we think, hey, I need to win every trade, or at least 80-90% of our trades. Dude, you could have one runner that makes up for your entire week of losers. You know? So that's a good gig. Talk a little bit about March, though, just since we're so new into the month. March was banging.
Do you have the ability to share the screen? Just pull up the dashboard and walk through it, man.
I think I do. Give me a second here. Say something entertaining. You want me to look at the admin account?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Something entertaining. Goodness. Just a second ago, Joel, he wasn't able to open this to-go box that we got for him for lunch.
No.
And so we had to have Tommy open it for him.
There you go.
He's gonna have to start doing some push-ups in the morning. So everybody encourage him. Let him know that it does get better and you can get stronger.
It gets better. Yeah, here we go. So just as an example, if you guys are new and don't know this, we do everything's kind of based on one account.
I'm not seeing your screen yet. If you're,
I know it just takes a second.
There it is.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a good month. You know, we had 2,300 roughly, not including the London sessions, about $2,300 worth of profit per account. 16 green days, 5 red days, 76% win rate. Like, that's solid, man. I don't care who you are. 76% win rate's really, really good. Asian was banging, 88% win rate on Asian, 74 in New York. Like I said, we didn't take anything on the London side of it, but just some great trades. We had people crushing it, man. We had people all the way up to 8 grand, which is cool to see. That's a good example. And not just
Great
us.
example.
Yeah, not just us. I mean, we had members we had people that literally came out of a challenge, you know, brand new to black gold trading, brand new out of a 5-day challenge that jumped in and had their first winning week. Some people that joined a couple weeks ago had their first winning month that they've ever had. So there's something to be said about that. A lot of times we think that our strategy is like, man, it's oversimplified. Well, dude, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are winning. I'll take that over like flash in the pan success any day.
Without a
And
doubt.
that's what most of what we see online is we see people that I don't know, you know, they have a day and they win 30, 40, 50 grand and they blow it the next day. I watched a guy, really, really popular YouTuber lose 60 grand yesterday. Live. And like no big deal. 60 grand. It's just 60 grand.
Ain't no thing.
Dan had over $1,000 his first month. Heck yeah, man. Love it. Cool, man. So what I thought would be an interesting topic today, and we'll see if we can't get our boy John in here. We
He's
like to have
working
John
on
up.
it.
Yeah, it's all good. John's a good example. John's a member. There you are.
Did I fix it? That
There we
fixed it.
go.
Thank goodness.
Hey. Welcome in. Glad to have you. No, I was just saying, like, John, you're a pretty good example of a member that, you know, also does some stuff on the ambassador side and on the leadership side, which is cool. But I thought what would be a cool topic is like, what do we do when shit hits the fan? Because it's going to. And we have all these people. We have all these people that hop around from strategy to strategy, trying to find a strategy where shit doesn't hit the fan. You know, I'm gonna try standard orb. I'm gonna go to ICT. I'm gonna do our girl Tori's stuff. I'll try Black Gold's stuff, and they're looking for something that doesn't have back-to-back losing trades or a way to avoid the crap, like the bad days or the bad sessions. And it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So I thought that'd be an interesting topic. So what do we do? What do you guys do when I don't know, hypothetically, you know, shit's hitting the fan? How many times can I say shit without YouTube blocking me?
I said
Depends on what you mean
immediately in
by
language.
hitting the fan, but yeah.
For
That's
me,
fine.
typically to start, absolutely nothing. I mean, I'm not hitting the panic button for a hot minute whenever it comes to this. Most people that do, they just don't have the confidence. They don't have the data behind their strategy to trust that the numbers will play out in their favor. At worst, and I have rarely had to do this, if at all, lower my position size a little bit and just be a little more conservative. Hopping around is not the answer to that.
Won't that just take a long time though, Josh, if you lower your position size?
Absolutely, man.
I'm out.
Absolutely.
I want it now.
You know what takes a long time? Starting over. Ask me how I know. That takes a lot longer.
It does. Well, I mean, because we've seen people that have held on to prop accounts for 2, 3, sometimes 4 months. They didn't pass it, but they didn't fail it. Guys, you just wasted 4 months. Like, you just wasted a quarter of the year on a prop. You know? So, yeah, I mean, starting over, especially if you're starting over from that point, if it takes you another 4 months, heaven forbid, my goodness, that's not a fun place to be in. At what point, Josh, you said you don't really panic. At what point would we panic? We've never had a losing month, so we've never gotten to that point. But at what point would you like really pump the brakes and say, "Man, this just isn't working. Because I see people that do it after one trade. Is it longer than that?
There's honestly, off the top of my head, I don't have like a time frame. It would be multiple
Josh.
months. It would be multiple months.
Josh.
Probably
Why?
at minimum a quarter.
Really? That long?
Yeah.
Bluetooth disconnected.
So I can guarantee, because I get to talk to a lot of fun people, I can guarantee you're the only one that probably thinks like that. Maybe John. You're the only one that's not like an ambassador or like a leader in our community that probably thinks like that. I mean,
Bluetooth connected.
we see people that like literally a trade or a couple trades or even a week. Like, oh my gosh, even though we've won the month, they lose a week. So, I mean, markets are always changing, which is part of it. But yeah, I mean, I think at least like if we're looking at a 12-month year and there's one red month, even if it, in which we've never even had, but even if there was, it's just like a drop in the bucket, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, I harp on this a lot with our feast guys, but replay mode, repetition, get your reps in to build your confidence in the strategy, to have the data, to be able to make data-based decisions, not emotionally based decisions. You have that data, you have the understanding of how to run through replay mode and see, the foundation of this strategy. You're probably going to have the maneuverability to, understand if it's a weird season in the market. Hey, we need to make a minor adjustment here to still find profitability without just completely trashing your strategy that's been profitable. It's been printing for you.
This week was a good, I mean, it wasn't a bad week by any means, but this was a week where, is it the strategy or is it the market? Well, strategy was fine. I mean, like we do everything based on like a minimum of 100 ticks. Like that hasn't changed. But was it a funky week? Well, we had a lot of news events. If you guys watched the market today, like that big old whipsaw right at 8:30. We had a lot of news today this week. We had a lot of stuff come out of a president's mouth, which always moves the market up and down. We had a lot going on this week. So I never ever look at the week. I think it's harder at the beginning of the month because that's all you have to go by is the week, but we could lose the next week and a half. We could be down 2 weeks or 3 weeks and still win the month, you know? What you think about that, Mr. Williams? Mr. Tesla?
Well, it brings to. I actually have one, but
There
so I
you
can
go.
wear the hat.
He's not a poser.
Real quick, the first time I rode in a Tesla was like 3 weeks ago. Ever rode in
Shout
a
out
Tesla.
Chris.
Well, yeah, well, Ricky was driving, but it was like one of the ones like where he didn't really have to like drive, and I was freaked out the entire time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like, dude, come on, man.
I mean, at this point, I'm used to it. I've had it for years, but when you first give over control, it's like I don't know if I want to do that. Yeah.
I was just in the passenger seat, just sweating bullets, man.
My wife still won't do it. We've had the car since 2020.
Jeez.
She still won't use that feature. She's like, no, I'm driving. Forget that.
Smart woman, Wendy.
Yeah. But now I forget what we were saying. Oh, say it again, and you'll remind me. That's something
I can't remember what I was saying. No, I mean we were just talking about like winning weeks, bad weeks, etc.
Yeah, that triggered it. So I remember on our feast call this week, one of them, because we have 3 a week, right? It wasn't today, but we were talking about. I guess it would probably be Monday or Tuesday. What do we? It's the end of the month, end of the quarter, that type of thing. And how you feeling? Because I noticed Josh asked us that a lot, like how we're feeling, right? And there's reason for that. But what I said in my answer was I'm braced for April to be not as good because March was so good. So, one of the things I've heard from you guys is like expect a really good week, expect 2 mediocre weeks, and expect a bad one. Like just expect that, right? And so I expanded that out to, okay, well, that means then I'm going to have a really good month and then a mediocre month and then maybe a bad month, right? So for me, and I tend to be a little more conservative, but I'm just like brace for that, prepare for that mentally, and okay with it, right? Because I've got the strategy, I've got the formula, I know what my business plan is. I'm just going to follow that. So, like, am I doing anything different? No. But I'm also braced for maybe it won't be as well as last month, but I won't be negative, right? So it's just perspective, kind of zooming out is, I guess, the way to say it.
John, you mean to tell me we're not going to win every single month, every single trade?
Yeah, it feels like that sometimes, though, doesn't it? Like we're winning too much. Watch out. It's like, when you, roulette hits black 8 times in a row, red's coming, right? So
just listening to what you guys are saying, you're talking some craziness, right? So both of you guys are you keep on using one. You guys are using the D word.
Data.
And I ask this on every challenge when I started off. I said, hey, if I was to ask any of you guys what your data is, who has it? And I'll get like one person, and they're normally like not being truthful. But you guys are more confident and you're not in panic mode because you have the data. Imagine if you were losing and you had no idea why. And that's very common in the marketplace. Yeah, I don't know why I'm losing every single trade. We don't really have that problem, but it's like I can just imagine the frustration that people have when they're just losing and losing and losing, and they have no idea why. They have no data to look at and understand if something's changed or if they need to adjust or if they're following the rules. Most traders don't even have rules, right? But you guys are both falling back on like kind of like the data, which I think is really interesting.
It's a fun process in our community. It's so easy to pick out our newer traders just on a day-to-day level whenever we're, taking our 8 a.m. trade. The people that are panicking the second we go a little bit in drawdown. Then you start as a week goes by, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. Those are the same people that are like, man, I remember when I used to just panic about that. And then, just watching Jordan, just watching myself, just kind of detach from the individual trade, gave them that extra layer of confidence. And as time went by, they start building the data themselves. You can see that progression pretty easily for a lot of these people.
I agree. Yeah, I mean it's how we know if we need to steer the ship, I think a lot of times in the moment, and we're working on something called Copilot that kind of helps in the moment with this, but in the moment, like when we get our trades set up, it's really easy to forget, because we're dealing with some different numbers and whatnot. It's really easy to forget the data, right? You guys ever experienced that? Like, oh, it's 152 ticks, and today's a Wednesday, and we have news at 9. For me, it's really hard to remember the last 55 scenarios where we've been in exactly the same spot. So I'm like trying to remember. I'm like, I think 3 weeks ago it was like kind of similar, but I don't really know. So some of that data we're kind of getting more readily available. And from a confidence standpoint, half of trading, I shouldn't say half, a lot of trading is confidence. Josh, you told me the other day, you're like, man, I'm so shocked at the people that just do one contract. Perfect setup, perfect box size, no news, whatever the scenario is. And it's a Wednesday. I'm surprised that more people are only doing one contract. Well, that's a confidence statement. Like you're confident in that specific setup with those specific guidelines and parameters. So imagine if something popped up that was like, dude, you've won 100% of these trades. You'd probably be even more confident, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, I mean, all of this comes from data. Data breeds confidence. It's like Chris. I don't know if Chris is watching. So I've been playing poker a little bit more with Chris, who's just an awesome guy. He's in our community. He's also up above us in the building. But like with Chris and like I've been watching like more poker. Like that's what people are confident in. Like they're like, dude, I have a 93% chance of winning this hand. What do? Now they might lose it, but you guys get the point. I was trying to come up with a golf analogy for you, John, to like include you in the conversation, and then I
like
realized I have
poker,
no
too.
idea what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
I definitely like poker, so I understood all that.
We're 12 feet from a birdie,
No, just
an
stop.
eagle. We're on the green.
I can make golf analogies.
man.
Let's just stick to poker, man.
Okay. So I mean, it's like I guess like maybe like a decent question to ask you guys is like, does that play like a role in your gig? Like you're just like, I mean, like Josh, you've probably been doing this the longest. Like, man, I've taken this trade 1,000 times. You know, or not really. Am I losing my mind?
Yeah. No, I mean definitely that I think you kind of already went through it, but confidence comes with time and reps with this, and the longer you get in it, the more you understand the personality of Nasdaq. What we trade every single morning. You start picking up on the little things like, hey, we're a little consolidated this morning and we have news or don't have news. I've seen this happen 100 times now, and typically, oh, XYZ is the result here. You can have that in the back of your mind as you're making your plan going into the trade. Helps make all of this process a lot easier.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things I mentioned on one of our coaching calls, meaning I'm getting coached. Um, but that was something I noticed is like I just have a feeling I should set this out. And part of it's based on data because I look at the data a lot, but part of it is exactly what you're saying. It's just like I've been in this trade before, or I've seen this before because we trade the same thing. We don't jump around to your earlier point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get kind of a familiarity with it, and I still want to know. Like I don't want to just go off gut feeling, but that's where it comes from. It's that okay? Here's what the data says. Here's what's happened before. I'm close to passing an eval. Do I want to sit this out, or do I want to, or whatever, right? And this, sometimes it's the opposite. It's like this looks really good. Like this is a day to add. This is a day to go for that runner, right? And sometimes I'm falling back on you guys' experience, which is part of the program. Like show up if you can for the live calls because you'll get that and a little osmosis maybe sometimes. But yeah,
Yeah.
that I've noticed that just over time that's starting to come.
Yeah, and you can absolutely like borrow people's confidence. Like if somebody's a newer trader and you're on with somebody that's even if somebody that's just like 3, 4, 5 weeks ahead of you in the program, you can borrow that confidence. We always tell people like, if you're a new trader and you're trading a strategy that's like heavy on intuition, you're kind of screwed because you don't have any intuition yet. You can kind of borrow that a little bit, which is cool.
John,
But
you have a really good analogy on that. What was it? Your chapters of the book. What was that analogy?
Yeah, so that's kind of thing I always fell back on. But just think of it as you're reading a book that has 50 chapters or something. Well, there's somebody that's read that book before, but they may not have read the whole book. Maybe they're only 3 chapters in, right? But the person 3 chapters in can help the person that just started the book because at least they know 3 chapters worth, right? And then in
the
this
main
community,
character's going to
there's
die.
somebody that's 15 chapters in, and now that person can help me. Then I'm only 3 chapters in, right? So it's help those who just started the book or behind you, and then learn from those that are above you, right?
Iron sharpens iron.
We used to call that like multi-level mentoring, not
Oh, that's right.
multi-level marketing, multi-level mentoring. And I think it applies to almost every business endeavor. Yeah, that's interesting. Back to the question, and then we got some stuff in the comments as well. But back to the initial question that I asked, like, what do we do when what is hitting the fan? I think the same question could be asked as like, what don't you do? Like the worst thing people do is they start losing and they start changing everything. Like that is the worst thing you can do. Like if you change and even like in a winning scenario as well. if you're winning and you're changing 15 things, you won't know which one of the 15 things is why you were winning. You know, if you're losing and you just start changing everything, now like your data is so skewed, you don't know because, well, I changed my stop loss, I changed my contract amount, and I also changed something else. I also changed the box time frame, and I started winning again. Well, which one of those things was it that made you start winning again? Well, I don't know. So I see that a lot. People, man, I'm gonna add 3 more indicators, and I'm gonna, if the volume's over X, I'm gonna do Y, and if it's above this RSI, I'm gonna do like it's so bad. Like if you're gonna lose, just lose. At least have the data on why you lost. That can be modified and remedied. Tacker Home said, as a new member, I'm okay with this week, treating this as a business now. Man, that's a huge part of it. Realize this is possible. Good thing it's in prop firm eval. Even with like a prop firm, like this wasn't a bad week. We had a couple losing sessions. It wasn't a bad week at all. Josh, what were we on the master account? Where were we at? Like break even, down a little bit?
I think we're still up on the week. I don't have it pulled up in front of me.
Yeah, you should be up.
Yeah. So, like, I understand the sentiment and I appreciate the comment, but good thing it's only a prop firm. Even if it's just a prop firm, like, you should still be in a really, really good scenario. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, worst case scenario, I think maybe we were break even, but that's still a great week.
I was still very green on the week.
Yeah, but you were cheating.
I wasn't cheating.
Josh
I
is a
think I
secret.
missed. I think I missed 2 of the Asian session trades. That's kind of the separating factor for me.
Yeah. What else should people avoid if they're having a losing streak, guys? Outside of changing a bunch of stuff, anything else you can think of?
And for simplicity's sake, I would just start with what you said right there. Don't panic. Don't change 50 things at one time. If you can do that, you're probably going to have a lot more time in the market.
Yeah. True story.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with either because we're all human, right? And you can get in your feels sometimes. So just
Mm-hmm.
we've said it's not against the rules not to take the trade. Like sometimes you can just sit there and watch and get your confidence back and kind of shake it off. There's nothing that says you have to trade every freaking day, right? I mean, come get back on the saddle at some point, but
well, so how do you do that with FOMO though, John? Because I think there's people that sit out. Even like I don't remember if it was today, maybe it was yesterday, but we sat out on a trade that was a winning trade, and people about lost their minds. If we would have done that trade, we would have won it. So how do we deal with? I would call it like FOMO. Maybe you guys would call it something else, but how do we deal with that? Like the what ifs. What if I would have just done this? What if I would have taken the trade?
I think it all goes back to data. Again, the D word. And knowing that if you just miss one trade, you're going to be okay. You're going to have more opportunity. Don't let greed control your decision making and thinking that this is your only opportunity to make that extra $100,000-$500,000.
that's it too. And somebody we got a little philosophical on the Discord last night, but somebody said something I thought was pretty profound is like any one trade is just one out of the next 1,000. So it kind of gets back to that zoom out thing again. It's not that important.
Shout out Jaron Jackson.
Yeah. It
Jaron.
was Jaron. Yep. So just, perspective, I think, is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, people get, I think a lot of it is greed, honestly. You're like, I need this to go faster. I've got something I'm trying to, but it just makes it slower. It's kind of counterintuitive, but
I think that's
Slow is
why I don't.
smooth, smooth is fast.
I think that's also why I don't like trade the London, and there's nothing wrong with people that do. But I think a lot of people have this like mindset, like I'm gonna hit all 3 sessions, and you could. For me, like I might make a couple $100 to $1,000. It's just not worth it, man. Like number one, probably the rest of my day is gonna be crap. Number two, I'm probably gonna be fried by the 8 a.m. call. So like it's like you gotta balance this stuff out. Like taking every single session and every single trade. We can look right now, Josh. Do you think most people took every single trade available? Yeah.
Quite a few, yeah.
And I think a lot of times we say, well, I'm just trying to practice. But we're not. Where's the practice sitting out the trade? Oh, I don't practice that. But that's reality, you know? So it's almost like sometimes I think we can either over practice, obviously we can over trade. But guys, if you're not normally like a 3 a.m. person, I don't know if that makes sense for you. You know? If you're having to cut out a family dinner to trade the 6 o'clock, well, isn't the whole point of like trading so we have time freedom? You know? So I think a lot of times we do stuff that like doesn't actually make sense just for the sake of trading more. Like if you want to trade more, just time block an hour and do replay mode. Right? Been interesting. Take less trades.
Less is more.
Well, what are you guys excited about? Josh, what are you excited about coming up into next week?
Well, we're going to have our official announcement of our upcoming in-person mastermind next week, but today we did a soft launch. Have quite a few people that are pretty stoked to get in here, hang out with us for a couple of days, work on their business, and just make some leaps, some big strides. That's probably number one on my list. It is, like a month and a half out, but just seeing the people get excited for it, have them start making plans to get in here. That's where I've seen people that have been trading with us for, 5, 6 months at a time. And it just takes one in-person mastermind for them to kind of flip the switch, get home, pass that first prop, get the first payout, whatever that looks like. So come if you can.
More of the story is come if you can.
Yep.
I think I said this last week, but I think I'm excited for hopefully a little bit of an end to the we'll call it a conflict overseas. Just like there's something to be said about like periods in the market that are not crazy. And we make money during crazy, I get it, but there's something to be said about like I love weeks where we don't have a massive amount of news because it's more normal, you know. So I'm looking forward to some more normalcy for sure. We got another 5-day challenge coming up on the 12th. If you guys have not gone through one, there's a phone number at the bottom if you guys want to be a part of that. Kind of gearing up to be like one of our biggest. So I'm excited. I'm terrified, but I'm excited about that. I get to meet a lot of really cool people, kind of show them what we do. But how about you, John?
A quick shout out before John goes. What was it, around 120 new members in March?
Yeah, right. Somewhere right in there, 120-ish. Yeah.
Stoked to be working with these guys. Got a great group.
Only 100 of them have quit. Shout out to the 20. I'm joking. No one's. Well, maybe one person's quit, but shout out to those guys.
John, what you got, brother?
It does feel like there's more people around, which I like. Even on the evening calls, because I get to lead some of those. So I like leading those evening calls. So I actually look forward to that.
Nice.
Because it helps me as well.
You want to take mine?
Right? No. But I mean, sometimes it is like ribs are on the grill, but yeah, I look forward to those. I look forward to more of that. I've made a slight adjustment. Well, I got my first payout this week.
Whoop, whoop.
And I passed the prop this week, so I guess I can't
you have to give me a heads up next time.
Yeah.
Invoice coming.
So I have 2 employees now, as Nate would say.
Let's go.
Nice.
And some in training. So I'm looking forward to April. I'm kind of on schedule with that. I made some slight adjustments to my risk profile, very small. As Jordan was saying earlier, that's really the only thing. I changed like 2% on one thing. That's it. Then I'm gonna run that for April and see how it works. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking forward to a new month. Really, I know we're talking about the week, but I feel like we just started a new month, a new quarter. So I'm kind of looking at it that way. But actually looking forward to the mastermind being during warm weather in Canton, Ohio. So that's in June.
Or so you think.
I don't know if you mentioned that, but it'll be in summer. Let's put it that way.
It's gonna be a gotcha. We're
Yeah.
gonna have a freak storm.
Oh, I know. It'll probably be a monsoon or something.
We did an event, and this was like a year or two ago. We did an event. It's supposed to be super nice. Freak storm. So much so that like I couldn't even like get my vehicle to my house. And I was with Andy, and Andy had no idea where we were. So I parked my 1948 Ford on the side of the road. I'm like, we're gonna have to walk. And like I'm wearing like dress shoes and like a cowboy hat. And he's wearing whatever British people wear. And I was like, I got some bad news, man. I was like, I got some bad news. We only have like 2 beers left and like 1 cigar, and we got a bit of a trek. But he didn't know where we were, and I told him, I'm like, dude, we're like 6 miles from the house. We were like right around the corner, but I'm like, dude, we're like 6 miles, and he was like freaking out. It was perfect. So we'll try to avoid that for you, John, where we're not having a freak blizzard.
Oh yeah, Uber will pick you up on the side of the road. I know this.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Don't tell Andy. Well, like before we determined that we couldn't make it home, dude, he was like live or something, like recording a video with his video camera in my face as I'm trying to like, not crash and like get up this hill. I'm like, get that freaking phone out of my face. What are you doing, man? He's like, look, everybody, like. So I had to get him back by saying we were miles away from the house. It was great. It's great. Anyways,
Anywho.
yeah. Guys, if you haven't done so already, if you're not a member of the community and you want to be, there's a number at the bottom, 330-422-4737. Josh prefers that you text him in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. He also guarantees like a 5-minute response time. So if you guys can just do that, that'd be great. But would love to work with you guys. We do have like I said, a 5-day challenge coming up. It's actually on the 12th. So we got, 9 days until that starts, but looking forward to that. Oh, I was just reading Rick's comment. They'll drop you off on the side of the road if you don't act right. And that's probably what Josh needs to worry about more so than anything else. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you on the flip side. See ya.